Now, there's so much trashing of Australia now that I reckon many people probably got too exhausted to fight back or even notice sometimes. And that's, of course, how the activists win. Now, even include in that, to my astonishment, one branch of the RSL, which represents people who actually fought for this country. You take this astonishing war memorial, the strangest I've seen in this country, that's just gone up in Melbourne's Endeavour Hills. Actually, it's no longer a war memorial, but a peace memorial. It reads this: "This memorial honours all those who have faced great dangers in the fight for freedom and independence for all nations and for all humanity." You see, it doesn't even mention Australia. I mean, it could be talking about Palestine for all you know. It goes on. "This monument stands as a permanent reminder of a great objective, a just and peaceful world for all." Now, that's so vague and unspecific that this memorial could be about just anyone on earth. On the back, I read that this was actually funded and supported by the Endeavour Hills community, the city of Casey, that figures, and the Dandenong RSL sub-branch. The Dandenong RSL, even though no Australian soldier or Australian sacrifice is even mentioned. Joining me is the man who brought this to my attention is Dean Hurlstone, who's president of Council Watch, which runs a ruler over councils that go crazy. Dean, thank you so much for your time. What's your problem with this memorial?
Thanks for having me, Andrew. It's just another example of yet another Melbourne council deciding to cancel anything that could possibly offend anyone. Assume there probably will be no words on our war memorials if we head down this path. It's dangerous, it's disrespectful, and, what next?
I don't understand why it couldn't just be a monument to Australians who've lost their lives defending the rest of us and our values. Why would that be called offensive? Why would that be seen as not worthy of special respect, special honour? At least it would then have a purpose.
Well, Andrew, we have a council system in Victoria that takes $12 billion of our money, your viewers' money, each year, and loves to waste that on consultants. So I have no doubt that Casey Council somehow probably had to outsource this to an expensively high-paid consultant to tell them what to put on the war memorial itself. And they probably came back with, we don't want to say anything offensive because how dare we? This is public money. But they've probably wasted a lot more money and upset a lot more people by doing it.
Look, I think you're probably right. Don't mention World War I because the Turks were on the other side. Don't mention World War II because the Germans were on the other side. Don't mention the Korean War because the Chinese were on the other side. Let's just not mention any of that. I mean, but what does it tell you that such a memorial gets put up with even the support of the RSL?
It tells me that our councils are leading the charge. Now, obviously, this council probably invested most of the money or paid for it to actually put it up after it was damaged. Now, the issue that I have here is, who are these people? Are they the CEOs? They're certainly not always the councillors, and we know Casey Council doesn't have councillors. It's in administration. So after it was sacked. So what this tells us is very clearly this is about the bureaucracy of local councils, those highly paid executives and CEOs who are running amok and inserting social policy into our communities without making sure that they've actually asked what the will of the people is. It is just the same, Andrew, as all of the conversations you've been having around Australia Day being cancelled by stealth. What councils are doing is they're not telling anyone that they're cancelling them. They're actually just dropping the words Australia Day out of all their material. And in some cases, we've seen councils say, we can no longer hold an Australia Day event, but what we can do is hold a January 26 event, because at least not using the words Australia Day will make it not
Correct.
offensive to Indigenous communities. Now, the problem I have with that is these bureaucrats are paid by our money. We don't get to see the decisions they make. They're shrouded in secrecy and controversy, obviously. And what we actually want is we want the public to be asked when these major changes are made to policies that affect and upset and offend people who have died for this country, who have died for the freedoms that we actually get to enjoy. That's why, Andrew, on our website, councilwatch.com.au, we are running an Australia Day petition saying, councils, get your hands off Australia Day. Let it be a federal conversation. Go back to the rubbish roads, footpaths, parks, and sporting facilities, and keep your nose out of things that we didn't give you permission to talk about.
Absolutely true. Just quickly, I noticed you've actually taken a pot shot at my council for not minding the War Memorial in Mornington, the Mornington Peninsula. It should look like this, pretty with flowers. Instead, it looks like, despite all the rain we've had, it looks like a bare piece of dirt in front of the memorial. Or it looked like that when you last saw it. What does that tell you?
That tells me that yet again, councils are so distracted, Andrew, that they're running off trying to figure out their place in a global context where they don't belong. They're so worried about motions for Gaza. They're so worried about other things. And certainly in the case of Mornington, this is the basics. These are the things that people pay their rates and just don't expect to have to look at and say, how are they missing that? Everybody walking past it can see they're not doing their job. What's the CEO and the staff doing? Sitting up in their ivory tower?
Absolutely.
Go for a walk.
Put. Yep. Look, if a country that can't respect its traditions, sacrifice, public duty, if you can't celebrate that, things will fall apart. In fact, I think we're starting to see it now. Dean Hurlston, thank you so much indeed for fighting back. Really appreciate that.